Got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. Oh, you'll break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 6 of the Quackcast. Actually, this is the 4th episode, but it's week 6 of the QSL, so it's the 6th episode.
A lot of continuity errors.
You can't tell us otherwise. You can't tell us otherwise. And if you do, I won't be listening to you. I will block you in the QSL Twitch chat because I have that kind of power. Poe, don't fire me. But I'm your host, Raptor. I'm still Raptor. And I am with everyone's lovable Char Goat here joining me as always. How are you doing today?
I'm doing quite all right. I know not to correct you now. That's I have that fear put into me. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, hey, everyone's got to learn at some point, right? But you might be noticing we're missing someone. We're actually missing a lot of things tonight, and you will see this is the most scuffed the Quackcast has ever been, and hopefully ever will be. But if you've watched all 4 episodes so far, you know that's a flat-out lie. But
We're on time. We're on time. So
we are on time. That's the accomplishment. That's the accomplishment. We actually started on time. You can't.
we put all our energy today. It's just starting at a decent time.
We're starting at a decent time for a short episode. Why does that work? Why does that happen?
More motivation.
Apparently, but yeah. Anyway, you guys might notice that we're missing Owen. He's unfortunately sick, probably dying. Hopefully, you'll see him again next week. I'm just kidding. He's just got the flu. So best wishes to him. And hopefully he'll be back next week. But tonight it's just me and Charlie. And another thing we're missing, we don't have any 1v1s.
Yeah.
I found out about this just a few hours ago, so we have nothing planned. If you were hoping for fun, I hope you like numbers, because we're gonna be talking a lot of numbers, and that's our fun. That's what me and Charlie enjoy, right, Charlie?
I enjoy it, but
no, I do. I do too. It's probably my favorite part of the show. As much as I love screwing around with Owen and whoever the co-host is, which is normally Charlie. Honestly, you've gone from I brought you on because you were really good at breaking down the matches, and you've just kind of turned into my and Owen's third during the 1v1s.
I mean, my original role was just, hey, here's a shallow solo laner. And now I've evolved since then.
Yeah, you really have. But I appreciate it. I really do. And I'm sure the fans appreciate it as well. What they won't be appreciating is that, as I said, no 1v1s. So we are just going to be hopping straight into last week's matches, the standings, and this coming week's matches, which, let's be, in all honesty, and I'm going to give you a little spoiler, they don't matter all that much. Last week kind of settled a lot of things, and let's say it with me. Say it with me, everyone. We'll get to that when we get to the standings. But
yeah, he said the thing.
Monday Night Chris says do a 1v1 with 2 Odin bots.
That could be heat.
Honestly, that might be entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. That would be kind of entertaining. The issue is, I don't know if we can do that because, at least not from a spectator standpoint, because you have to set up you have to set up the lobby yourself, and when you do that, you have to play in it. So, hey, if anyone at High Res is watching this, set up a way to where we can just set up a bot match. That'd be fun. I actually think that would be fun. So fun fact about me, this is going to make me sound really boring, and I'm okay with that. When I was 12 or 13, I had the NCAA games from EA Sports. It's in the game. Probably my favorite thing to do was not play the game. It was to set 2 teams against each other, just AIs, and watch what happened.
So this is how you became a caster.
Exactly.
You're like, man, what's the fun in playing the game when I can just watch other people play the game?
Exactly. On a completely side note, my parents wanted me to go into football commentary because I'd always cast over the channels and always guess what play was coming up next and analyze everything. So that's really where the caster roots came from. And Madden and NCAA football just kind of sealed that. But hey, let's get off the personal stories and let's hop into this week's matches. And Charlie, I'm going to need you to talk about this first match, and you will see why in just a second. Ready for this?
Oh, please don't. No, I can't get right into this.
So, you might be noticing the Reapers versus Swarm is non-applicable. And yes, that is what, how do you say that? Nye?
N/A. Yeah, NA.
N/A, but...
NA.
Wait,
it's NA.
NA.
Not applicable, yeah. Just say NA.
I've always thought it was like yay. I watched that.
Not at all.
When I watched that episode of iCarly with the Beef Coon, when Spencer's talking about the Beef Coon, I always thought he says yay, but no, it's NA. It's NA.
NA.
Yeah, that makes so much more sense. You learn something new every day. Yeah, NA between the Reapers and the Swarm. You're gonna be seeing a lot of that.
Double forfeit.
Yeah, it's a double forfeit. So we had 1 week. So I don't know if you remember, week 2, Charlie's first time on the show, actually. We had half the matches forfeit, right?
Right. I remember that.
This week we had last week, we had 1 forfeit. And I was like, praise God, hallelujah. We actually have stuff to talk about. Then the devil came back and we're back to 4. 4 forfeits. And all of the Abyss matches, none of them got played. So, I could go on a tangent right now. Charlie knows that I could go on a tangent about this. And that's why I asked him to talk about this. Because I don't want to go on the tangent.
It was a double forfeit. So, anyways, on to the Deep Sea match where there was games played. Except there wasn't.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't games played. So, get baited. Get baited, losers. No, there wasn't a game played for this one either. Ferrymen just get a larger lead into their standings, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot there. Forfeits be like that sometimes.
Priest, why'd you have to take after your Abyss team's example? They haven't won a game. I don't think they've played a set this season. Please, make my job easier. But yeah, very unfortunate that the Priest couldn't play. And that does it doesn't settle their spot. Well, actually, it kind of does, and we'll get to that when we get to the standings. But yeah, let's move on to the Shallows game, where as Edit Spades in chat says, who is on the Legion, by the way, the Legion sucks.
I'm not gonna say that, but okay, here. So now their solo laner, Mr. at the HXH, formerly known as. So, he attempted to pull a me, going up against the Serbs, playing Kabrakin, and going 3-10. The difference is they didn't win that game. So, but all joking aside, this set was way closer than it really should have been. This should have been a 2-0 for Legion. So, Serbs able to abuse a weakness that Legion have. So, and Legion, kings of the 3 games apparently. They love going to 3. It's their favorite pass. So, and that's I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, hey, that's how PK won the Smite World Championship. They literally took games to the end and just beat them. Unfortunately, the Serbs couldn't take down the Legion this time, but yeah, the Serbs, they were showing promise, and I didn't watch the set myself. I'm gonna make a little bit of a disclaimer right now to all the viewers. Last week was a terrible week in terms of casting and getting sets streamed, and that was for a multitude of reasons. I'm to fault for that just as much as anyone else, but yeah, no, we don't have any video to go back on these matches. We're looking explicitly at the screenshots that from the captains who submitted these after the sets. So forgive us if we can't really talk about how the sets went step by step where the strong points were, all that. We are looking explicitly at the post game. I told you this stream was gonna be the most scuffed the Quackcast has ever been.
I will say, as someone who did get to get a little peek behind the curtain, Azure, doing Azure things, had a really good set. I don't think he's had a bad set in a long time. Going 5-0 in 7 game 1, and then game 2 putting up nope, that is the wrong game. Game 2, he's going 11-1 on Robin, both games. Just ban it. Just stop letting him have that god. Every single time. I'm included in this. Stop letting him have this god. I swear, his win rate on this god is insane, and his KDA is even more nuts. But yeah, they're way closer than it should be. This is gonna be fun playoffs. This is gonna be a fun playoffs. That's what I want to say. That's my closing thoughts about this set. It's gonna be fun with playoffs.
It really is. I cannot wait, and especially once we do look at the standings. I don't know. Okay, a little bit of a tangent here. I don't know why I keep saying that. I don't know why that's become like my tagline. It's just after every sentence, I feel the need to say, once we look at the standings. Because a lot of what I say, I already know the standings. I made these graphics. I already know everything, so I just...
I don't know the standings, so you're keeping me informed. Thank you, Raptor.
Yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, the Serbs really, I think they surprised a lot of people when this went to 2-1. And I wish I would have liked to see the game that the Serbs won and just see how they did it to the Legion, because the Legion, I'm pretty sure, were undefeated up to that point.
They were not undefeated.
Oh no, they lost to the
Horns. They've already lost the Horns, yeah. And they've gone to 3 games quite a bit this season. So another 3-1 to add to their belt.
Yeah, so guy who hosts the show and whose job it is to know this stuff doesn't know what he's talking about. You guys love to see that content, right? But yeah, Serbs really, with this 2-1, they really shook up and I think opened a lot of eyes to just how close this Shallows playoffs will be. And I think we actually got like a month before the playoffs, because we have All-Star break and then Christmas break, then New Year's break, and then playoffs. So we have quite a while to playoffs, which who knows what these lower teams can put together before that time. But on that note, let's move to some of the lower teams. This next set, Vicious Carnivorous versus Pleb Esports. Yet another forfeit in the Abyss column, in the Abyss division. The Patricians taking the 2-0 by default over the Tyrannos. Unfortunately, the Tyrannos couldn't get a team to play. But everywhere else, Vicious Carnivorous just dominated Pleb Esports, which we kind of expected going into this week, right? The Raptors, number 2 in their division. The Mighty Horns at the time were number 2 in their division. Plebeians just barely in the playoff race, and the Plebbies hadn't won a single set all season. But hey, the Plebbies actually played this time, so that's a plus. I'm very surprised that they did play. I'm not gonna lie, but no, the Plebeians and the Mighty Horns. I think that one had the potential to be close, but I think that this one doesn't surprise anyone.
Are you talking about the Raptors versus the Plebeians, or the Plebbies versus Mighty Horns? Which set you talking?
Did I say Plebbies versus Raptors?
You said plebeians versus Mighty Horns. I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah,
that's not right.
I meant plebeians versus Raptors.
Okay, yeah. The set could have been close, but I don't know. Seeing the people that are on it, it's just, I don't know how plebeians win. Dragon had a good game on Giannis, game 1. Game 2, even 2, 3, and 4. One of the better looking KDAs on that team, but I don't know. This Raptors team, just a scary team. You have, our good friend Juke Boots. We have, you have Senna, Rich. Like, I don't know. I don't know how you beat this team unless you're, in that top 4. that top 3 contention.
Yeah, this Raptors team is insanely good.
Hmm.
And Skizzy, you don't want to be on the plebbies, and I'll explain in just a moment. Don't think I don't read Twitch chat, but back to the plebeians and Raptors. This team, the plebeians, I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. They are a confusing team because some weeks they look very good. I think last week they looked very good, and then they go up against a team like the Raptors, and it just doesn't look like they can do anything. They can't get anything done, and it just really confuses me because they took down the freaking Journeyman, right? Like, sure they
Journeyman
won.
asterisk.
Journeyman asterisk.
Asterisk.
They did win game 1 off of a forfeit, but they legitimately won game 2.
Well, when the Journeyman had 3
We don't
shallow
have to
subs.
talk about that. They still took down the Journeyman.
The big asterisk.
I mean, they still took down the Journeyman. This is a team that, their best win, I'm pretty sure, was against the Poets before that. And the Poets were already mathematically eliminated going into that week. So, like, this was a team that really, they were a team that confused me. They were a team that looked like they could play with the best teams in one week and then not the next. That's why I was saying this could be a close set, and it just wasn't. The Raptors just showed their dominance and why they deserve to be in that number 2 seed.
I mean, game 1 was a little bit closer, but game 2 it just looks like one of those games. It's just one of those games. The 7-1 of Wheelix, the Undying Yemo, like it's just not fun. That's an unfun.
It's never a good sign when the Yemoja is 3-0. It's never a good sign when you hit tab and see that the enemy emoji is 3-0 before your Phoenix Siege. That's not a good thing to look at.
Just not fun. Just
No.
not very fun.
It's really not, kind of like Yemoja. But let's move on to Plebbies versus Mighty Horns.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. It's a win in my books that the Plebbies actually played this game.
Okay, I will say, someone who watched this set live, this set was hilarious to watch. This set was one of the funniest sets to watch. Game 1 was like a serious game. It was like, everyone's playing their correct roles. Not a whole lot of troll stuff. It's just a high kill game. Game 2, some role swaps happened. TFC went to mid. And also, these Mighty Hordes team was playing with sub, the Goose subbing in. But, Bertaku going to jungle. I think. No, wait, no, that's just a Cronus jungle. Never mind. That's just a Cronus jungle and a Lancelot mid.
Yep.
And a Hades support.
Now look, credit to the Plebbies. They were mathematically eliminated. They hadn't won a single set. Their only game win was off a forfeit. So, you got to give them credit for actually showing up. Because I remember you and I saying, we don't think this set's going to happen. I thought this was going to be the 5th forfeit, not knowing that there would be 4 others going into the week. But credit to the Plebbies. They came out, they're good sports about it, and they actually played the set.
They actually outkilled Mighty Horn game 2.
Yeah.
Which is just funny.
Did they outkill them?
They did. 30-28. They outkilled them. But
I was looking at the wrong team. For some reason, I was thinking that, okay. Yeah. But
this set's awesome.
Yeah, and that really is. And they're showing promise finally. It's just too bad that it's after the season's over, and they have no chance of making playoffs anymore. Even going into this set. But
the Cronus jungle looked like it went hard. That Cronus jungle went hard. Yeah. That's all I can say about it, is that it looks like it went hard.
I just realized that was a Cronus jungle.
Yeah, it's a Lancelot mid, Cronus jungle, Hades support.
Why is Bracking and the Goose the only 2 people that played their actual role? The Goose I don't know, so he could.
The Goose is a sub. The Goose is a sub.
The Goose is a sub, but I don't know him, so he could be like a serious player who just wanted to play the game. Bracking, I know him. I was expecting him to troll when the rest of the team trolls.
They won. They won on
They
the
did
troll
win.
stuff.
They did win. But the Mighty Horns proven once again, given they played a plebeies team who isn't that good, with all due respect. It's really weird to say that a team with the Sweaty Sacks and Salty Dingus are not, and Bushwookie are not.
Name-wise, they're top tier.
Yeah, name-wise, they're top tier.
They're top tier. Like, those are some
Reputation-wise,
banger
they're top
names.
tier. If you were to give me this roster preseason and ask me where I put them in the 3 to 4 range with the possibility of making a run in the playoffs. I did not expect them to go into the final week with their only game win being a forfeit. And I don't know how much of that is just like them not being able to get their players together, that how many sets they had to forfeit. That could be a massive factor. We have seen top teams just fall because of that. But
they always have next week to get points. They have one more week.
They always have next week. And I forget who they play. But
me. They play me.
The poor plebeies, man.
It's always next week.
Yeah, there's always next week. But yeah, plebeies versus Mighty Horns. It went about as expected. Well, I can't even say that because, like I said, I thought this set would be forfeited. But the plebeies, they're just looking forward to next season. And with the names that are on that team, I really hope they stick around, because I think that if in a better situation, they're
good people. They're fun people to be around.
Yeah, they're good people, good players. And I really hope they stick around.
Just unfortunate, like season 6 space station stuff happens where it's like, they just didn't gel.
Yeah,
it happens. It's a draft league. It happens. That'll be.
Yeah. But on that note, let's move on to something that I know you want to talk about.
What is it?
Eclipse Gaming versus the Bard College. Only one of these matches were played. Can you guess which match it is?
I know, the one that's 1-2 and not 2-0.
Yeah. So the Spacemen, they had a bye. They got to take it easy this past week. The Starhoppers do take the win over the Poets 2-1, which we will talk about that game in a second. That is a lot closer than anyone was expecting it to be. And the Astroducks unfortunately had to forfeit against the Fledglings in quite heartbreaking fashion. But before we get to that, let's talk about the Starhoppers and the Poets. The Poets won a game.
They did. It was awesome. I was proud of them. That's our Owen right there winning a game.
Yeah, that's our Owen. Rest in peace. I'll see you next week. He won a game against the Starhoppers, who, you know, the Starhoppers, they were coming off of a heartbreaking loss against the Raptors. They were really trying to bounce back. They had just lost their solo laner, so that could play a big part of it. And in fact, if you look at the screenshots, I pointed this out to Charlie earlier when we were talking. So to break down what the Starhoppers had, they had to drop their solo due to schedule issues. So they no longer had their solo laner. So two Icy, their ADC, is now their starting solo. He moved over to solo. And then they brought Maiden May, who was on the roster but listed as a sub, to start as ADC. And you can kind of see the growing pains in the screenshot of game number 1. You know, Maiden May went 2-5. 2 Icy went 1-3, not too bad. But Snowy going 10-4, Clucknuts 4-4. It just wasn't enough to bring that team out of the brink. And so they really struggled to mesh in game number 1. Then comes game number 2. They're all in the same roles. You know, Snowy gets that Wheelish again. They win 36-9. And
yeah, they got comfortable. They kicked their feet up. They kicked their feet up. They were like, yeah, we're making this our home now. That's how comfortable we are. Yeah, that's to go from game 1 to 36-9 is it was something.
And it doesn't get much better. Going to game 3, I'm gonna assume they banned the Wheelish, because Snowy, after 2 games of going 10-3 on that pick, they probably banned the Wheelish, and she picks up the Susano. goes 12-4 in a 26-8 win. And yeah, this this Starhoppers team, we've seen them having troubles with with FAs in that solo lane. They the sets that they had lost recently, the games that they had lost recently, you could really tell that the team was doing well, but the solo laner just wasn't really meshing, and a lot of the time that was because of the schedule issues. They had to pick up an FA, someone that they weren't used to playing with. Now they have two Icy who switched from ADC to solo, and then brought up one of their subs to play ADC. And in game one, you can see not as drastically the same results as the past few weeks, but they obviously struggled a little. And then something clicked in game two, and all of a sudden, game two and game three, they looked like the Starhoppers we've been expecting to see.
Yeah, say it with me, everyone. Snowy's a monster. Snowy is like someone I just fear. I'm scared of Snowy. She just makes everything look so effortless in this jungle. It's not even her main role, and she's out here diffing everyone left and right. I just don't get it. Yeah, her Collect Nuts having an amazing set. Same with Animated. Really solid KDA throughout the whole thing. And after game one, even May and Icy just kicked it into like second gear, and it was just wow. That is not. Those are two very not close games.
No, I mean, Maid and May went 2-5 in game number 1, 4-1 on game number 2, and 7-0 in game number 3, all on the exact same pick. Actually, was she on the same pick? Yeah, she was on Ishtar all 3 games. Game number 1, 2-5. Game number 2, 4-1. Game number 3, 7-0. You could just see, just based off the screenshots. I didn't even have to watch the game. You could still see that she was really selling it into that role. Same with Icy. I mean, Icy didn't do terrible game 1, going 1-3, but game 2, 13-1, man. 13-1 on that Achilles. Then he gets the Achilles again in game number 3. Goes 4-2. Doesn't have as big of an impact, but that's because Snowy kind of popped off and made up for it. But and again, this is all without watching the game. I can't tell you how big of a performance Icy had, but like everything just seemed to click into place like we had never seen from the Starhoppers team, right? Like they have always been a dominant team. They took a game off of the Journeyman when they were number 1. They will be facing the Ferryman this coming week when they are number 1. So they haven't had it easy. They faced the number 1 seed, I'm pretty sure, like 4 times this season. And those were 4 different teams. And they have been competitive in every single one. And that's why it was super shocking to see them go down 2-0 to the Raptors. And as I said before, this set, we were saying it last week, this set needs to be a get-right set for the Starhoppers. They dropped game 1, and then it looks like they did get right. And I'm super excited to see what they can do.
They got kind of right. They got kind of
right. We can't say too much because, again, this is the Poets. They did go they are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs before this week even started. So who knows how hard they were trying. The Starhoppers, this is a set that we expected them to win. But after that game 1 struggle, game 2 and 3 just looks even more impressive, and I'm super excited to see what they can do.
Starhoppers are just monsters. I'd say it every week. I like this. I like the Starhoppers team. They're monsters. I love Snowy as a player. He's a monster. May is a monster. Blacknuts is a monster. Star monsters.
Star monsters. Yeah, and then you gotta give credit to Animated, right? Like he's a true GOAT. He wasn't originally the captain of this team. He came in after week 2 or 3, stepped in for Orphan, who just got too busy with his schoolwork to actually be able to captain the team. Stepped in, has even started being a captain for the Abyss team, because currently I'm the captain and I'm too busy to take care of that team because no one else on that team wants to be a captain. More on that later. But the Animated has really stepped up to his role, and no one else can see the team chat. I'm the only one in this call and who's probably watching the stream who can see the team chat. Animated's a true GOAT, and to see him step up and in this set alone, he went 0-5 on the Khepri, which it seemed like the rest of the team wasn't doing too hot, so you can only imagine what the Khepri was doing. But then he gets this Nox, goes 1-3-19 in game 2 and 1-0-19 in game 3. He's really coming into his own, and after being benched all last season, and I mean all last season, he was on the Grenadiers last season when the Grenadiers made the championship run. He didn't play in a single set, and this season he's really come into his own, and I think we just gotta give props to the unsung hero that is Animated.
For sure.
But let's move on to Fledglings versus Astroducks. So for those of you who don't know, who weren't here last week, Charlie's on the Fledglings. Charlie's the solo for the Fledglings. I'm the
captain.
And captain. I'm the jungler for the Astroducks. And we didn't actually play this set. This was a forfeit.
It was funny.
This was a forfeit for the Fledglings. So, Astroducks get the 3 points. The Fledglings drop down out of the playoffs, unfortunately. But, no, I'm kidding. But
I was like, that's a weird.
This was very heartbreaking fashion, especially if you know the story behind it. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about what happened afterwards, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So we had 4 players in the VC, right? We were all talking. We were getting ready to play. We were all in the lobby. We were just missing our mid laner. We start spam adding him in the channel. He doesn't come. He doesn't show up. So we start spam adding our subs. None of them show up. None of them even say anything. Then 20 minutes pass, which for those of you who don't know the rule, after 15 minutes after game time, if you don't have all 5 players in the VC, then you forfeit game 1. After 20 minutes, you forfeit the set. Well, 20 minutes pass, and we don't hear a single word from our mid laner or any of the subs, so we have to, unfortunately, forfeit. 3 to 5 minutes later, we hear a voice, as we're talking, just say, "I'm sorry, I'm here." And my heart dropped.
If I would have known, I would have waited the extra 5 minutes.
If we would have known, we would have asked for the extra 5 minutes, but it was a very unfortunate circumstance. Luckily we did have some team building. We played some casuals afterwards and had a lot of fun with that. So it wasn't a total loss, but unfortunately the set wasn't played, and I was super excited to play you. I was super excited to camp you all set and just make you cry.
Yeah. For sure. That would have happened. Yeah.
It totally would. I don't know why.
Totally.
I don't know why you sound sarcastic.
I'm not. This is my normal tone always.
Yeah, totally. This is my normal tone always too. Team building, never heard of that. Yeah, me neither, Skizzy. But before I get even more depressed, let's just move on to the final set of matches. So the 4 men coming out big, 2-0ing the bye week. Only captains get that joke, but hey, who cares? You guys are watching this show anyway. You guys don't get the luxury of knowing the inside jokes.
Well, no, they can see match reports.
Oh, they can see match reports?
Yeah. Everyone gets that joke, Raptor.
I'm just an idiot. I'm sorry.
I know you are. Don't worry.
Don't worry. The longer this show goes on, the more of an idiot I'll look like. But no, the 4-man 2-0ing the bye week, getting the huge win and a total of 0 points. So congrats to Dr. Dilf and crew on getting that 2-0. But moving on, it goes about as expected. The Journeyman 2-0 the Frost Foxes, and the Apprentices 2-0 the Frost Pups. This is pretty much what we predicted to happen last week. With the exception, I think Dr. Dilf went 2-1 for the Apprentices Frost Pups, if I remember correctly. But otherwise, everything else was the exact same.
Both orgs have very similar paths into playoffs. So it's kind of not super surprising when it's like, oh, journeyman, kind of do journeyman things. I get to play with their full roster and just say, hey, stupid, we're just gonna win. It's gonna win again. So, and then Apprentices doing the same thing down there, but Deep Sea first. All right,
Yeah.
2-0. It looks like game one was not super blowout, but still got the closest. And then game two was when it really just hit the fan, and we saw the second Chronos jungle. Two of them. We have two Chronos jungles
And
in 1 week.
just wait, Sino's gonna bring that out in the SWC. I just
It has got to be heat. It's got to be heat.
I just know it's gonna happen. You know they got that from either Sino or Zapman. Hey, the Chronos jungle works. You try it.
But
But yeah, Journeyman taking care of business. An angry Journeyman who were coming off a very unfortunate result against the Plebeians just the week before. You know that they just wanted a bounce back set, and they got it against the Frost Foxes. The Frost Foxes, they were fighting for their playoff life. They had to win this set in 2-0 fashion in order to move in to have a chance at the playoffs still, and they unfortunately didn't do it, so they are unfortunately eliminated from the playoffs. Journeyman, it's a bounce back set, right? And it's a very important one for them because without this, they might have started on a downward spiral if they did end up losing to the Frost Foxes. And suddenly this team that was number one all season starts to show cracks. Well, actually, they would start to show cracks, and even more cracks until all of a sudden they look like they're the underdogs in the playoffs. So they really needed this win, and it's good that they did against a struggling Frost Foxes team.
yeah, it's just nice to see the full roster back. Like this is my journeyman right here. The Corbin, Brock, Greg Afro, Gumbo team. That's my journeyman right there. I'm just happy to see them all back.
You're not even going to shout out Reverb?
Yeah, I don't think Reaver's been there the whole time. That's why. I don't know if Reaver's been there the whole time, so I'm not going to pretend like I know whether Reaver was there the whole time.
Fair enough.
Because I think Reaver just got onto the roster. Reaver just got there. So
that does actually sound correct. So
see, I know my journeyman.
Yeah, you do know your journeyman.
The plebeian set was not my journeyman. Hashtag not my journeyman.
Well, moving on, the Apprentices versus the Frost Pups. Neither team were really fighting for anything in this set. You could argue that the Frost Pups were fighting to stay in the playoffs, but they were basically out. The only way they could fall out is if the Astroducks pulled off a miracle, and as we saw, that didn't happen. So the Frost Pups, nothing was really at stake in this set besides, who's fourth seed, who's fifth seed, really.
See, I'm a math person, right? I love math, all right?
Okay.
So there actually is a mathematical way that apprentices get third in this entire thing, and it all depends on this next week. So if they 2-0 Mighty Horns, then they jump up because then they'll have more points than the Mighty Horns, and then they get third, Legion would be first, and Fledglings would be second, assuming no crazy stuff happen. But also, I hate. Okay. Also, tangent because I'm not done talking about that set. I hate that Apprentices won that set because the entire week, you know what I've been hearing? Dude, Bolo's OP, man. Bubble Solo's OP. Because it's just Bubble in my ear saying, well, I'm undefeated in solo now. Because he does this every time. I love Bubble to death. But it's just now Bolo. It's now just a Bolo diff the entire time. And I hate it. It sounds awful.
It does. But since you brought up the standings, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about the Apprentices and Frost Pups match. They were
The Bolo, obviously.
They were semi-close matches, but there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. Nothing that we hadn't said already. So let's just move right on to my favorite part of the standings that I talk about all the time. Why did I just say it like that? Let's talk about the standings.
Yeah.
So starting with the Abyss, this is locked. There is no possible way in Week 7 that this changes.
No
all the
schmoozing.
teams are 4 points apart, and neither the Reapers nor the Swarm can overtake the Tyrannos. So
True.
this is already set. The Foremen will be your number 1 seed. The Patricians will be your number 2 seed. Spacemen number 3. Tyrannos number 4. Reapers 5. Swarm 6. And we did just find out today that all 6 teams make the playoffs. So the Reapers and Swarm, they're not done yet. However, they have to actually play their set.
They might. Fingers crossed, they might.
Let's hope. But I don't know how the Reapers and Swarm, that tiebreaker is going to be decided because the
Coin flip.
It's literally going to be a coin flip.
Coin flip. Let's go.
They forfeited against each other. Like
Alphabetical. You know what? That's going to be the way to decide it. Alphabetical.
But yeah, more than likely, if I had to guess, more than likely the Spacemen will be facing the Swarm and Tyrannos will be facing the Reapers. Don't know. Don't ask how I came to that conclusion. It just sort of makes sense that it works like that. Probably because the Reapers have actually played a set and the Swarm have not. So
your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
Messenger. But anyway, as far as where these teams stand, there's no possible way that these can move. The most points that the Tyrannos can get is 6. Most points the Spacemen can get is 10. Patricians 14, and Foremen, well, they could get the max 18.
Yeah, so I think this Foreman team is actually kind of cracked.
Oh, really?
This Foreman team's kind of crazy.
What makes you say that? The fact that they haven't dropped a single game all season?
Yeah, they're gamers. I love Foreman. I love that whole org, really. That crew org. Chef's kiss. Mwah.
They really are.
Good job,
they are the best org in the
mathematically. Yeah.
Well, you could make an argument for Vicious Carnivorous as well. I think that points wise, it's not a competition. The Foreman or the crew has it locked down because they have a team of 15, 13, 12 compared to the 14, 15. 3.
3?
Yeah.
I wonder what team brings that one down a bit.
But I just blame that on the Abyss division. Especially considering that the Abyss division for most of the season they haven't been able to play. They've had 2 bye weeks each team has because the Bards and the
Frostborn.
Yeah, the Bards and Frostwolves were disbanded. So they haven't had a full season, quote unquote, compared to the other 2 divisions. So I don't know how much I blame that on the Tyrannos and more just the situation that they're in. But no, points wise, it's unmatched. The crew is the best.
So my thoughts on the Abyss division has not changed since last week. If you want to have any shot in playoffs, you need to be planning on beating this Foreman team because they're just the best. They're just the best. They have the talent, they have the gusto, they have confidence, synonyms. They have everything that they need in order to just take this. So you just need to be planning on how you beat Foreman. So if you're on the other side of the bracket as Foreman, say you're Patricians, who are 2nd place, or Spacemen, who are 3rd place, you're looking to... Because...
Did we lose? I think we lost you for a second. You kind of went silent.
Anyways, Foreman, plan to beat them.
You said where's the Spacemen?
If you're the Spacemen, who are 3rd, you just need a plan to beat the Foreman. It just no matter what, someone's gonna run into Foreman. You know, where the deck lies on your semifinals, give or take it. But no matter what, if you want to win it all, this Foreman's team is the one you got to beat. So just
Yeah.
study.
If you're the spaceman and the patricians, you are breathing a huge sigh of relief, especially the spacemen, since the Tyrannos didn't play the patricians. Patricians, all right. If the Tyrannos had beaten the patricians, that doesn't change a whole lot because then the patricians would just be 1 point ahead of the spacemen. Spacemen could beat the Reapers this coming week and jump them, however that works. But I think you much prefer it this way because there's no way you were going to take that 1 seed from the foremen, and just jumping the patricians doesn't change anything as far as who
You'll end up in the same spot.
Yeah, so you are very happy that I think you're very happy that the Tyrannos lost that set, even if it was a forfeit. You're very happy that the Tyrannos lost that set because that locks you in place to face the patricians instead of possibly dropping down to number 4 and facing the foremen. And this is all talking without mentioning that spacemen might have to beat the Reapers 2 weeks in a row. The Tyrannos might have to beat the Swarm. Who knows if those sets get played? Who knows what could happen? Because we haven't seen the Reapers, we haven't seen the Swarm, not once. So who knows what could happen in those sets?
Really, this is the tactic: play 0 games, then come into playoffs and just sweep everyone.
Well, that's why we changed it, because back in season 1 and season 2 of the QSL, that's how it was. And we did have a team that made it to the playoffs, made it to playoff finals, and they were the worst team in the entire league throughout the season. That's a bit of an overstep. They were actually number 7 instead of number 8. But point still stands. So that's why we put it that the bottom 2 teams no longer make playoffs. But hey, because the bottom 2 teams no longer exist, all these teams get to make playoffs, and I just want to see the Swarm play. I know Uchi does as well. I just want the Swarm to play one set so we can know, do they deserve to be at the bottom?
Soon, Raptor. Soon they will play. Soon.
I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it if the Swarm, let's say, hypothetically, Swarm face Spaceman, because that's how it's set up right now with how everything's set up. Let's say Tyrannos face Reapers, Swarm face Spaceman.
Okay.
The Swarm actually play that set and demolish the Spacemen. Then they demolish the Patricians. Then they demolish the Foremen. And all this time, they could have been the number 1 seed, but they just didn't play a set, so we didn't know what we were going up against.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny.
I might be in the minority. I would actually be upset about that.
I'd giggle. I'd giggle personally. I think I'd giggle. That'd be a funny situation. But Abyss locked in. So, but Deep Sea, there might be some motion in this ocean for a little bit, especially towards this top 2 spot.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, but Ferrymen and Raptors they are the only 2. They're top 2. They are guaranteed that first round bye. There is no way the Journeymen. Actually, no. The Journeymen can top them if they 2-0 and the Raptors don't. So that is a lie. The Ferrymen are guaranteed top 2 no matter what happens this week against the Starhoppers. Starhoppers are guaranteed bottom. Or the Raptors and Journeymen are guaranteed 2 and 3. That's just a battle between who will get the week, the quarterfinals bye. Starhoppers, Priests, and Plebeians, they are locked into playoffs. This is just, okay, who will face the Journeymen or Raptors, and who will face one of the other 2. Which could be big, because Journeymen and Raptors, they've been looking hot. And personally, my money is that the Starhoppers will just because it looks like they finally clicked. Who knows? They face the Ferrymen this week, right?
Yeah,
they face the Ferrymen, so that's a challenge. I kind of have faith in them. I'm not gonna lie, but
I have faith in Ferrymen. I'm gonna be real. I think Ferrymen are just gaming. They're just gaming.
It's a very bad time for the Starhoppers to be facing the Ferrymen. But hey,
it's like, hey, you just clicked. Anyways, here's Godzilla. Have fun with it. What? Like, it's just this Ferryman team are just looking dominant. I think for my money, I think the two teams that have a chance against Ferryman in their current state is Raptors and Journeyman. And we won't be saying that if everything, goes exactly how it should until final. So this is going to be a little fun week for everyone.
It is going to be a fun week. And actually, Raptors versus Journeyman, Raptors and Journeyman, I'm pretty sure they're playing each other.
They are?
Raptors and Journeyman, literally, if the Journeyman 2-0, they get the number 2 seed. Any other scenario,
So
they
actually,
number 3.
actually, you're correct. I don't know why I said actually. I don't know. I was like, yeah, what if they tie? It's like, well, then where Journeyman getting 3 points from? Yeah, so you are 100% correct. I think even if they 2-1, it's just that's an ego boost right there. You're like, yeah, we're gonna make it the semis, so we know we can beat them at least. So
But
it's an ego boost.
Could you imagine the storyline that the Journeyman, they 2-1 the Raptors, so they beat the Raptors, but they're still in third place. Plebeians are still in 6th, so it's Journeyman versus Plebeians, and the Journeyman actually have their normal team.
I would want to see that just because that'd be funny. That'd be funny. Like, hey, last time you picked on our Shallows players, so we're gonna pick on you now instead, nerds. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But
So here's
anyways.
Here's my question for you. If you are the Starhoppers, Priests, and Plebeians, are you throwing this week? Because if you win, now given if all 3 win, then nothing changes. But
right,
if you're the loser and you're the only one that loses, you drop down to 6th place. You will be facing the Journeyman and then the Raptors instead of facing one of the other two, then the Ferryman.
Yeah, so basically, I'm trying to win this set this week. I'm like, yo, guys, last week, please let's win this. Please. I don't want to, I don't want my first quarterfinals or first semis match, if I make it a semis, to be the Ferrymen, who are looking insane.
Well, no, if they win, if they're in the 4th seed or the 5th seed, then they will face each other, and then they'll face the Ferrymen.
Yeah, but I don't think the other side of the bracket's really attractive either. Journeyman Raptors are still nuts. Journeyman's the Craig Afro Corbin team we're talking about, and Raptors are Raptors. They're second for a reason.
Okay, so let me ask you this: out of the Starhoppers, Priests, and Plebeians, who do you think has the best chance to take down the Ferrymen in semis?
So, I'm gonna say Starhoppers just because Snowy. It's a Snowy diff. Like, it's just I have so much faith in Snowy. Now, do I think they win? That's a different question. But I think they have the best shot. They have the best aim for it, but not. I don't think it's gonna be clean. I don't think it's gonna be clean.
And I'm actually just saying this, and I just realized something. Raptors beat the Journeyman in any capacity, and the Starhoppers somehow 2-0 the Ferrymen this week. Ferrymen are actually on the other side of the bracket, and suddenly the Starhoppers and whoever wins between the Priests and the Plebeians, they will be facing each other than the Raptors instead of the Ferrymen. So in a way, if you're the Starhoppers, Priests, and Plebeians, you're hoping to win and that the Starhoppers win as well. And the Raptors. It's a big back and forth.
I mean, that would be an insane semis match. Journeyman, Ferryman. That'd be fun.
Oh, you have no faith in whoever comes in 6th place to beat the Journeyman?
Okay, so I think Deep Sea is very competitive. All right, I don't think it's that competitive. I don't think it's that competitive where plebeians are gonna be like, or plebeians or priests are gonna be like, yeah, guys, we're gonna beat the Journeyman. The team that's been beating everyone else all year. Yeah, we got it. It's like,
especially if you're the plebeians and you're the team that put the Journeyman in this situation where they are the 3rd seed instead of number 1 still. You're kind of like, I don't know if I want to face them because they've got kind of a revenge arc against us.
It's one of the things where like the journeymen have been winning. They've been winning for a bit. And the one of their most notable losses was when no one was really in town. So it's like one of those things where I don't know if they stand a chance, and that worries me quite a bit.
So I just want to. I'm taking a look back. I just want to ask: the ferrymen beat the journeymen, correct? No, the journeymen beat the ferrymen.
Journeyman beat ferryman. Yeah.
So, oh,
That was one of that was like the one
actually, that
that was
changes
the only
everything.
loss. Yeah. That was the only
Starhoppers 2-0 ferrymen, journeymen 2-0 raptors. Suddenly, raptors are 3rd seed, ferrymen are 2 seed, and journeymen's 1 seed. So that top 3 is not secure at all.
not yeah,
Besides the
no,
3
it's not
teams
yet.
that are there, and there could be any combination of the 3. That's crazy to think about. I just put that together.
Oh, just wait until you get to shallows. If you
I
think
don't.
that's crazy, get to shallows.
I'm scared to talk about shallows.
Oh no,
Because
trust me.
hey,
I,
guess what? Serbs and Frost Pups. Congratulations, you're 5th and 6th seed. Everywhere else, good luck figuring out what's going on.
yeah. All right. Let me break this down. There is one single set that determines these 4 teams, and that is Mighty Horns versus Apprentices. Okay. So if Apprentices 2-0 Mighty Horns will drop down. It's saying the no surprises happen for Fledglings and Legion, which they shouldn't. No surprises should happen. Fingers crossed. But so say Fledglings Legion 2-0, Apprentices 2 over Mighty Horns. Suddenly it's Legion, Fledglings, Apprentices, Mighty Horns in that order. If if anything else happens, then Legion will take 1. If the Mighty Horns 2-1, if the Mighty Horns 2-0, then they will take it. It'll be the current standings. It'll just be. So things can change quite a bit. Top 4 is nowhere near secured, and it's only based off one single set. Everything else does not matter. It's just that one set. And I love Comp Smite.
Well,
I love it.
Don't say that. Plebbies could shock you guys, and the Frost Pups. You know, they're at least in playoffs. They could make the Legion match competitive.
True.
But
do you think they will?
They could make the Legion match competitive.
That is not what I asked. Not what I asked. They could.
It really just depends on how serious they take it, because
And they're already in.
Yeah, they're already in, and like the most that can happen, they jump up to the 4th seed to face probably the Apprentices, depending on what happens in that Mighty Horns match.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say who's gonna face who yet, so I'm just.
It is. I just realized something at the beginning. We were talking about which org was the best between the Crew and Vicious Carnivorous. Those are the 2 orgs facing each other in the final week of the regular season.
Yep. Flash and Titans.
It all just kind of worked out, and with how weird this season has been, it just kind of makes sense that it ends this way.
But other than that, in standings for Shallows, it's not insane. Everything kind of falls exactly where you think it will fall. Not anything too crazy. Serbs are 5th. Frostos are 6th. Top 4 is ambiguous. Yeah. I like it.
I mean, the craziest thing that can happen, other than the top 4 that you said, is Frost Pups jump the Serbs because they somehow 2-0 the Legion, and
if they 2-0 the Legion,
and the Astroducks beat the Serbs.
So, if Frost Pups beat the Legion, I will personally give you $25, Raptor, if the Frost Pups beat the Legion, because I don't think there's a single way where the Frost Pups in their current state get a set win over Legion, especially since Legion just, went 2-1 against Serbs, and I know they are not very happy about it. I know that they are rather cross. So,
I was just about to make a joke that I was going to message Uchi and tell him to tell the Legion to throw so I could get 25 free bucks. Then I remembered that he's in surgery and he won't be able to look at Discord all week. So that kind of ruined the joke.
Yeah.
I hope your surgery's going well, Lucci. But no, this, like I said, the craziest thing that can happen is the Frost Pups beat the Legion and jump the Serbs, and they would have to 2-0 the Legion. And the Astroducks would have to 2-0 the Serbs. But other than that, looking across the board at all 3 divisions, all 6 teams are locked. Like, all 6 teams were locked for the Abyss division since week 2 when the 2 teams got disbanded. But other than that, every single division has their playoff bracket figured out. It's really just who will face who, and that's what
it's where are you starting your game? Are you starting it in semis, or are you starting it in quarters, and which side of the bracket are you on?
Yeah. And it's crazy to think about how certain like I said, the Abyss division, we know the exact seeding besides maybe the Swarm or Reapers, but that's for the admins to pull their hair out about. But we know the exact seeding and the exact matchups for the Abyss division. You look everywhere else, anything can happen. Like in that Deep Sea division, you got the top
3,
You got the top 3 and the bottom 3 all fighting to decide, hey, who's gonna play who? No one can jump between the 2 halves. It's literally just 1, 2, and 3 fighting for those positions, and then 4, 5, and 6 fighting for those positions. And then you just got the crack cocaine division in the shallows.
We're even over there. We're very competitive. We're having a fun time. We're just gaming. Simple as that. We just be gaming.
Yeah. And that's super exciting. Tune in next week, by the way. I'm gonna be dressing up, and we're just gonna have a really nice stream.
Support 1v1.
Yeah, we're gonna have the supports 1v1, and then we're gonna reveal the brackets. And I'm gonna try and tell Owen to dress up for it, but knowing Owen, dress up for him is probably a tank top. So we'll see what happens.
I expect to see the polo shirt. I expect to see a polo. Little polo shirt come out. That'll be a vibe.
Yeah,
I love it.
So we are about an hour in, and it's been a while since anything scuffed has happened. Well, here's where it gets really scuffed.
Yay! No graphics.
We have no graphics for the upcoming matches, so you get to look at my pretty face, the Cincinnati Bengals hat, and a "Go Who Wants Your Lunch Money."
Yeah.
So we're gonna do this the exact same way I did this in week 1 when I was completely by myself. We're just gonna read off the matches and talk about them.
Yay! I like this.
Yeah, we all love this. I know you guys really want to see us just looking the other way.
See you looking the other way.
Looking the other way. And
so us about
image.
this.
But no, we're gonna try and make this quick just because we don't want to bore you guys. But there are a lot of good matches to talk about. This one isn't one of them. The Spacemen versus Reapers coming up this coming week. Spacemen coming off of a bye. Reapers also coming off of a very, 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 very long bye week. Weeks with an S at the end. If this match gets played, I don't see many ways that I need to see more from the Reapers. But as we said, this match doesn't. We need to see the Reapers. At least we've seen them a little bit. But this match doesn't matter. None of the Abyss matches matter as far as standings go. So
it's just locked. Everything's locked at this.
Yeah, everything's locked. So if this match gets played, I wouldn't be surprised to see these teams take it easy a little bit, or not, because the Reapers, they want the points. Who knows? They want to lock in that match against the Tyrannos instead of leaving it up to a coin flip with the Swarm.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you take the alphabetical coin flip right there. I don't know. You take your odds there.
Alphabetical coin flip? What?
Alphabetical coin flip. Yep. Combining the two.
So the Reapers would get the advantage over the Swarm. Then you flip the coin.
Flip the coin, and then it's like So if the Swarm win that coin toss, then it's like another coin flip. It's kind of like a best of 3 situation, but the Reapers are just 1-0 due to being alphabetical.
Why not play rock paper scissors then? Why not
I
choose
like
another game to make a difference? Why would you
I
make it
like I like
alphabetical?
com I like combining alphabetical and coin flip. I think it's a good
So then
system.
why not make something different for game 3?
No, why would I do that? What? I need stability in my life, Raptor.
I'm not even gonna question it. Let's move on to one of the big games. Not, I guess it is because of standings, but also it's just set up to be a good match. Starhoppers versus Ferrymen, and this one we touched on it a bit. Ferrymen number 1 isn't locked in. If they get 2-0 by the Starhoppers, they are dropping to number 2. It doesn't matter. They're guaranteed top 2, but
They
they
get their
aren't
bye
guaranteed
week.
top 1. Yeah. But the Starhoppers, they are fighting. I don't know if you beat the Ferrymen. Are you fighting to not fight the Ferrymen? Because if you win,
Well,
you won't be facing the Ferrymen. But if you lose, you won't be facing the Ferrymen in the playoffs unless some shenanigans happen. So really, do Starhoppers care about this that much if the goal
so
is to avoid the Ferrymen?
all right. So standings wise, no, not really. Momentum wise, though, it's a very different story. Momentum is such a big thing in comp. I feel like, if you get a win, say you're 4th place, you get a win against 1st place. That's a huge like, guys, we got this. We can beat Ferryman. We can beat anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of keeps you in the game constantly. You're like, all right, we're not the underdogs. We belong here. We have this. Let's just show up. Let's play our game. Now on the flip side, Ferryman win. You're like, all right, the top team. So Starhoppers don't really have much to lose. They can only gain momentum.
Yeah.
Ferryman can lose momentum, which is scary. If you lose momentum at this stage of the game, we're going into a month-long break. Especially because no matter what, Ferryman's top 2. That means they don't get to play until, what, the 17th?
It will be the 17th of January, so
Yeah, that's
literally a full month.
like, oh, 13th, my bad. 13th. The 13th of January. Like, that's
Oh,
such a long time
it really
for
is.
you to just be cold turkey. Just, I'm assuming they're going to be scrimming throughout. I'm assuming. Fingers crossed. But it's just, if you lose on that week 7, your momentum is kind of wibbly wobbly for the next few weeks. Even if you're scrimming, you're like, man, we shouldn't have lost that. We're better than that. Or we were the top seed, and then finally you get to play in semis. So yeah, I don't know. It's tumultuous. I think Ferrymen have to win this set for their own sake. Starhoppers are trying to win this set just for momentum's sake.
Yeah, I completely agree. I really harped on it a lot last week. Getting that momentum going into playoffs is massive.
Mm-hmm.
And
It feels good.
it does feel good. And if you're the Starhoppers and you know I said police. You know
Police?
the police. You know the priests and the plebeians are shooting for the exact same thing. Even if all 3 of those teams win, which is it? It is possible that all 3 of those teams win.
Is it
Actually,
likely?
it's fairly
It is
likely.
likely.
It's
It is
fairly
very
likely.
likely.
If the Starhoppers beat the Ferrymen, it's likely that all 3 of these teams will win, which is weird to think about. But if those 2 teams win and you don't, and you're the Starhoppers, suddenly you're feeling awful because suddenly you drop from 4th seed to 6th, and that's not a good place to be in, especially knowing that you're going to be facing the Journeymen and the Raptors eventually before you even get to the Ferrymen. So you really don't want to lose this set if you're the Starhoppers.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But moving on, this set doesn't matter at all unless your name is the Frost Pups. Then you're watching the set very closely. Astroducks and Serbs. Astroducks having to forfeit last week, unfortunately. So they are mathematically out of the playoffs. The Serbs, because the Astroducks did because they did win a game. Actually, it doesn't even matter that the Astroducks forfeited. They just had to win a single game to lock their place in, and they did. So the Serbs, they are safely in the playoffs, but they're not safely in 5th place yet. If they lose 2-0 to the Astroducks and the Frost Pups,
2-0 Legion.
2-0 Legion. Then,
somehow, actually, they if they lose, so I'll get a little nerdy on the math here. Okay. So if Serbs go down 0-2 to Astroducks, and then Legion either 2-1s or 2-0s, because Frostpups have the head-to-head advantage. Therefore, if they tie, that means that Frostpups will take 5th. Now, the likelihood of both those things happening is very low.
One lower than the other.
I think I have more of a chance of Shooting Star today. Honest opinion. And it's not hating on those two, on like any of those teams, but Legion has looked dominant. Mm-hmm. Serbs have looked competitive against top teams. Meanwhile, Frostpups haven't quite been able to find consistency. Astroducks, same thing, but in an even worse situation.
Yeah. And with the Astroducks, I'm on this team, so I already know what's going to happen this week, but I'm not going to give anything away. But Astroducks, with them mathematically eliminated, you have to wonder how serious they're going to take this set. That's not even me like suggesting that we're going to have fun with this. We're going to have fun. I enjoy playing comp, but that's not even me suggesting that we're just going to troll the entire set. That's just me asking a genuine question for the circumstances. You have to wonder how much the Astroducks, or how seriously you're going to take this, because this game doesn't mean anything to them. Like, this is their last time playing as a team. And so they might take it seriously and try and go out on a high note. They might just try and have as much fun as possible. And on that note, you have to wonder if the Serbs will follow suit or not.
Yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue. Only you know this answer. I don't.
Only I know half the answer. I don't know what the Serbs are doing. I know half the answer. But
more for half than I have.
Let's move on to a bunch of big sets. Two of them because of standings. One of them not so much because of standings, but it's just going to be a really good set. Foreman versus Tyrannos is the first set. Again, not important because of standings. None of these Abyss matches are, which actually we've gone over both Abyss matches. So yeah, neither of these are important for standings, but at least this is between two teams that have points, right?
Massive. Huge.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much to say about this set. Again, if it gets played.
Foreman, good team. Foreman, good. Foreman, very good.
Foreman, very good. Foreman, 15 points, undefeated record, good. It's crazy to think that a team in a division with two less teams to face have the second highest amount of points in the division or in the league as a whole between the three divisions. They are tied with the Raptors.
Foreman goated.
Yeah. You got the Ferrymen at 16. Then you got the Foremen and Raptors tied at 15. And then you got the Mighty Horns and Legion, who are in the same division, tied at 14. So it's just crazy to think about that, how good this Foreman team is. And Tyrannos, this is the team they're facing in playoffs, right? If they get past the quarterfinals, they have to face the Foreman again. So if you're the Tyrannos, how much are you showing in this set?
So yeah, I think you don't show a lot, but you still try to play your best, just because you want the certainty of, okay, we didn't even show our hand, yet we beat them.
Yeah.
So like, we got this. We can do this. So I think they definitely want to win this. I think, no doubt, they should be aiming for the stars here. But it's Foreman. Haven't lost a game all season.
They haven't.
I'm not betting them against them now.
They haven't. It's it's hard to vote against this Foreman team, but because I'm an org owner, I have to. So go Tyrannos. That makes me sound extremely biased. I just realized we haven't gone over any like score predictions yet. So
2-0.
rapid fire through EG versus Underworld. Spaceman versus Reapers.
2-0 for Spaceman.
I'm expecting 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
Starhoppers versus Ferrymen.
I'm gonna say Ferryman 2-0 this set as well.
I'm gonna say 2-1. It really just depends on which Starhoppers.
And what side?
2-1 Ferrymen. It really just depends on which Starhoppers team we get. And very easily, it could be 2-1 for the Starhoppers. It could be 2-0 for the Starhoppers. This set could go any way. It really just depends on which Starhoppers team shows up, because the Ferrymen have been consistently good all season. The Starhoppers have been up and down, and a lot of that is because they haven't had a consistent solo laner. Now that they do, and they know where everyone's going, it's going to be interesting to see how well they click and if they can bring that to the Ferrymen. And then Astrodux versus Serbs. I'm going to say 2-0 Serbs.
Serbs. 2-0.
I'm going to say 2-0 Serbs. And yes, that is a self-burn. Foreman versus Tyrannos. 2-0 Foreman for me.
Yeah, 2-0 Foreman 2-0. Yeah. Foreman good.
Yeah, very good. All right, next. We actually get to talk about this one before we make our predictions.
Yeah.
Raptors versus Journeyman. Number 2 versus number 3. Winner gets the week 1 bye, gets the quarterfinals bye. Loser faces either Plebeians, Priests, or Starhoppers.
Yeah, I think this is going to be this is going to be the closest set of the entire week across all divisions, I think. Mm-hmm. I think this is the set where I'm like, yeah, this could be a 2-1. This could be a freaky deaky 2-1.
Yeah.
I think both teams are just kind of hitting highs right now. So it's really unfortunate that they fight right before playoffs where you want to be at your highest. But yeah, this actually a very fun set to watch.
Yeah, and if the Ferrymen don't if the Ferrymen don't win, this is another time that the crew and if the Ferrymen do win, I'm sorry. This is another time that the Vicious Carnivorous and the crew will be facing in the semifinals between the Raptors and Journeyman. First is the Foreman.
Do this forever.
Foreman and it's so weird. Like these are the two these are the two orgs that were saying they're the best orgs throughout the 3 divisions. One is already set up to face in semifinals if the Tyrannos can move on. Now, if the Ferrymen win, it'll be another time that these two are set up in the semifinals if whoever drops to number 3 wins their quarterfinal match. That's just weird to think about.
They really are just destined to do it forever.
And I love it. You could say it's the same thing in the what's it called? The Shallows between the Mighty Horns and Apprentices. If nothing changes over there and Apprentices win their quarterfinal division, they face the Mighty Horns. It's these two orgs, man. They're destined to go against each other heavenly, as you said.
It's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. they all like to mirror each other in standings.
They really do. But going back to this Raptors and Journeyman's match, this is gonna be a fun one to watch. This is my game of the week. I know how close it is over in the Shallows. I know that the Apprentices and Mighty Horns are 2 points off of each other there, and that set could completely shake up everything about that division. So that one seems like it's good game of the week material or set of the week material. This is my set of the week: the Raptors versus the Journeyman, because there isn't as much on the line, but these are two extremely good teams trying to take that first seed away on the off chance that the Ferrymen do lose. And if they don't, and if the Ferrymen do win, they're fighting for that first round bye, which we know both of them want.
Bye week feels nice. Bye week feels very nice. I like bye week. I want bye week as well. So.
Well, hey,
but
you'll get your chance.
I think for predictions wise, I think Journeyman they take it 2-0. I think this has the potential to 2-1, but I think Journeyman are just going to be able to come in, play the style of Smite they always love to play, and just dominate the competition. I think Journeyman take it 2-0.
I remember it was a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
It was the week that the Starhoppers faced the Raptors,
Right.
and we were talking about the top teams, and we were saying Journeyman and Ferryman are easily right there. Starhoppers, they took Journeyman to 3. They really have the ability to make a difference. We hadn't seen anything from the Raptors yet. Then suddenly the Raptors 2-0 the Starhoppers, and and now they're number 2 in the division, and all of a sudden we're talking about them like they're this unbeatable force, and that's what they can do in 2 weeks. I'm gonna give it 2-1 to the Raptors. I think that the Raptors can take this and shut this down. They've really proven themselves over the past few weeks, and I think that the Raptors take this 2-1 over the Journeymen and secure that first round bye. But moving on, we got the Mighty Horns versus the Apprentices, and this one you were saying is a very big match.
I like this match. So this is my set of the week, just because it can change everything. Like everything in the top 4 could just get shuffled around off of one set, and I just love that.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see how this plays out. This is going to be a very freaky deaky little set to watch. I think that we'll be able to see a first look at how these teams are shaping up before playoffs, just because Muddy Horns have been dominant pretty much all year, dropping one set due to an FF.
Yeah.
And then Apprentices are on the other side of the ball. They're like, all right, we've kind of looked a little shaky up against, these top 4 teams. Now this is our last top 4 team to fight. Mighty Horns is our last stop for playoffs. If they win and by the way, ever since the last top team they fought, Legion, their roster is revamped. They have a revamped roster. So that's why we're hearing about the Bolo. So I think that this could be a really close set.
Yeah.
I think this set should go 3. I don't want it to go 3, but it should go 3. I think I want it to be a 2-0 Apprentices. Okay, I want my bye week, but I think that Apprentices will take this 2-1. I think that's my official prediction.
Well, hey, you can say that and vote for the Frost Pups, right?
No. No.
Speaking of which, let's move on to the next org showdown: Frostborn versus the Fallen Angels. The Swarm, they have a bye this week.
Massive.
And not that they haven't had a bye all season. If you can't tell that I'm salty about these forfeits,
they might win it all. They might.
They could win it all. That's.
It'd be funny if they did. It'd be a giggle.
It'd make me so upset if they did. Nothing against the people in the Swarm, except yes, it is. Stop forfeiting your matches. But let's just move on. Priests versus Frost Foxes. Priests, one of those teams that are fighting to stay in that 4 and 5 slot, so that they don't have to face what is expected to be the Ferrymen. And with the Starhoppers losing, all they have to do, if the Starhoppers lose to the Ferrymen, even if it's a 2-1 loss, all they have to do is beat the Frost Foxes, and they are in the top 4 and 5, guaranteed, no matter what happens with the plebeians. So this is a big match for the Priests. And the Frost Foxes, I had a little bit of faith in them going into last week, but I just don't know if they can do it this week. I really don't.
See, I love to have faith. But I think it's late into your season. You just lost to the top team. You're like, man, our season is basically over. We can kind of just phone it in for this one. I think that Priest should take this 2-0. I think that this should be a set that isn't the closest thing in the world. I think this is going to be a nice momentum grabber for Priest, especially coming off of last week being a forfeit. I think this will be a nice change of pace for them. Good. Get back on your feet right before playoffs. Get that momentum going into your break.
Yeah, I 100% agree. As much as I want to see the Frost Foxes go out with one last hurrah, get the 2-0 against the Priests, send them to that match against the Journeymen or Raptors, whoever loses that set. As much as I want to say that, I don't know how much faith I have in them. I am gonna go two. I think I'm gonna go 2-1 Priests, because I think the Frost Foxes can give them a fight, but I don't think that they win the sets.
Right. Okay. I could see that.
Frost Pups versus Legion, though.
Uh-huh.
I say though, but it's kind of the same story, right?
Yeah. I think the disparity of it is even worse. Like you have before it was like Priest, like, oh man, they're like fifth. You can kind of fifth versus seventh. You can reason it.
The Priests, they're on and off. They can. The Frost Foxes can give them a fight. It really just depends on what Priest team we see.
Yeah, but this is second versus sixth. And that's a big jump.
This is a team that's fighting for first seed versus a team that already has bottom seed locked. Like
yeah, this is a team that is pretty much guaranteed a bye week.
Yeah.
So
they're guaranteed if they win. Even if they win. Even if they win 2-1, they're guaranteed it if they win. If they lose 2-1, they're guaranteed the week 1 bye week. But they still want that first seed.
I won't. I mean, it's nice. First seed is a nice privilege. It doesn't really matter for semis as much because I feel like the top 4 teams are pretty even with each other. It's one of those things where you don't really care about who you get in shallows because you have to beat the other people anyways. It's not like, Abyss where I'm like, please stay away from me, Foreman. I don't want to be near you. It's one of those things where in shallows, it's just we've seen them take games off each other. We've seen them take sets off each other. Top 4. So it could be anyone's game, but I don't think it's going to be Frost Pup's game. I think Legion take this in a swift 2-0.
I would have to agree. The Frost Pups, you guys got the very bad luck facing the Mighty Horns last week.
Mighty Horns into Legion. That's a schedule.
You're facing the teams that are tied for first place here, folks. It's very unfortunate. Fortunately, you guys already had your spot locked as long as the Astro Ducks didn't pull off the miracle against the Fledglings. So you guys weren't stressing too much as far as playoffs go. But kind of going off your point, if you are the Frost Pups or the Serbs, you are very much sweating come playoffs because
you're not having a good time.
No, Mighty Horns, Legion, Fledglings, and Apprentices. Those are the 4 teams you have to beat, and those 4 teams are preparing for each other. Once the brackets are released next week, they'll just be preparing for that matchup. Even the teams in 3rd and 4th place, they'll be preparing to face the 1st and 2nd seed. If you're the Serbs and Frost Pups, you have to prepare to face every single one of those 4 teams because you don't know who you're facing at any given point.
Yeah. So basically, here's the situation, right? Mm-hmm. I believe everyone besides Mighty Horn have beaten Serbs, and I believe every team has beaten Frost Pups in the top 4.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where we kind of have the download complete kind of situation on on 5th and 6th, but anything could happen, especially with this month on break. Yeah. Some teams might not scrim. Some teams might come in with a meta that's completely off the mark. Some teams might be trying to imitate what they just saw at Worlds. So it's one of those things where I don't know where I'm gonna put it. There's a surprise factor, yes, but at the end of the day, there should have been a surprise factor all season. So I think that once again, Frost Pups definitely go down 0-2. I think Legion takes this pretty handily.
Yeah, I have to agree. As much as I'm pulling for the Frost Pups to pull off the upset. I really just want Frostborn to beat the two teams in the Fallen Angels. Don't ask me why. It's
praying
nothing
on
against,
Uchi's downfall.
It's nothing against
Right.
Uchi. It's nothing against Uchi, except it is completely against Uchi.
Homie's in surgery, and you're praying on his downfall.
But no, the Legion's just that team that's been on top this entire season. The only time they've lost is the Mighty Horns, and they're a team on top. I like chaos. I like watching chaos. And as chaotic as the Shallows division is already, why not make it even more chaotic, right?
See, if Legion lose to Frost Pups, that helps me out a lot standings-wise. But it does not help my wallet. So I'm going to say that Legion are gonna 2-up. Anyways, next round.
Next round, okay. Final org matchup, and then we can close it out, and you guys can stop looking at this screen that you've been staring at for the past 36 minutes. Yeah, it's crazy. Even without the 1v1s, this show goes almost 2 hours.
We talk a lot.
We do talk a lot. We said this was going to be a quick show. It's already almost 10 o'clock.
Hey, quicker than normal. We're usually getting out at like 11.
Yeah, it's better than normal. Actually, last week we got out at like 12.
Don't remind me.
And that was with me. And I have to.
That was us on time.
That was us on time, and that was with me for getting a 1v1. So.
Oh no! All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, last matchup.
Anyway,
so we can get out on time.
Back to a bit more happy. I say happy. Why the hell did I say happy? Patricians versus what would be the Bards. They got the bye week. Hopefully they can pull off the 2-0 just like the Foremen did, because Foremen are goats and they have to match up for that. Patricians just gained the easy route. These are the matches that I think I have the least to say about. In all honesty, Plebeians versus Poets and Fledglings versus Plebbies. Because the Plebeians, for all I know, the Poets could come out and shock this team. Because
Poets been looking good.
Poets have been looking good. They just took a game off of the Starhoppers. Given they got destroyed in game 2 and 3, and the Starhoppers were clearly working out.
That's the Star Monsters right there. They took a game off the Star Monsters, man.
Yeah, they took a game off the Star Monsters. They can hang their hat on that. They're now tied with the Frost Foxes. But this is a team that the Plebeians, they haven't been consistent. I've been talking about, it depends on which Starhoppers team we get. It depends on which Priest team we get. The Plebeians have not been consistent. I'm pretty sure the only reason that they have a lock right now is because they got that win against the Journeyman. Yeah, the win against the Journeyman. If they didn't get that, then they would be sitting at 4 points right now, and the Frost Foxes and the Poets both would still be in contention to get that 6th slot. So this Plebeians team, this isn't a knock on any of them. It really isn't. I just haven't seen them consistently play well, and that's what kind of scares me going against a Poets team who has nothing to lose.
Yeah, they have nothing to lose, nothing to gain, but it's just like I know the people on that team. I get to little snoop into their team channel quite a bit. They're serious. they're getting in there Friday. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. And I agree with your point. Plebeians just have not been consistent yet. I hope that this changes, especially if you're going into playoffs and your first round matchup is Raptors or Journeyman, which is you better come right or you better not come at all time of match. I think that I really just cannot give it to Plebeians. I think I have to give it to Poets 2-1.
I think I'm giving it to the Poets too. And that instantly puts them in the bottom slot. Suddenly the Starhoppers and Priests, they don't have to worry about anything at all, especially in the Starhoppers facing the freaking Ferrymen. I think that they'd be happy if the Poets beat the Plebeians. But no, I completely agree. The Plebeians, I hate to say this about this team, but I honestly think that they got in on complete luck. And that is not, I've been saying this entire time, this is not a knock against the team. That they should be proud that they made the playoffs already, that they can go into this final week without having to worry all that much. But I think that the Frost Foxes are a better team than them. And that might be my hot take. That might just be my hot take, but
I'm not gonna say that. I don't quite agree with that, but I think that the Frost Foxes have shown more consistency, but the plebeian highs are much higher than the Frost Fox
the
highs.
plebeians have the higher ceiling, but the lower floor.
Yeah, I
And
can agree with that. I agree
yeah,
with that.
and the Frost Foxes have I can't say the Frost Foxes beat the plebeians because they only have
They
10
didn't.
points.
They
Oh, they
did
did.
not.
They did.
Wait, I don't
Okay.
think they did. I don't think they did.
I have
I
to
can
look back on this now.
I can I can courage through everything to make sure.
Um, but the no plebeians won that by forfeit. So
Ah,
plebeians did have the tiebreaker. But the fact that it was a forfeit, I can't even say that the plebeians won that game, won that set, because we don't know what would have happened. And in all honesty, I really do stand by it. I think the Frost Foxes would have been a better fit in the playoffs, but the plebeians, you can go surprise me. You can really go surprise me. And one way you can do that is by beating the Poets, because right now I'm giving it to the Poets as well. I think the Poets come out and win this and secure the plebeians in that spot against either the Raptors or the Journeymen in the quarterfinals. I honestly, I hate to say it because I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but I just don't see any.
I think it's a close set. Like I just think it's a closer set than it seems on paper. I think it's going to be a nice final send off for our lower end of Deep Sea. I think this will be, if plebeians win this, it's a huge momentum. Going off on a win is so much better than going off on a loss, especially a loss to a team that didn't even qualify.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts.
And then a set that I have even less to talk about. Fledglings versus plebbies.
So
At
yeah,
one point, fledglings at fighting for that first round bye. Plebbies, they actually played last week, which, as I said, was
they did.
surprising. They
With
gave
how
the
competitive they
Vikings a
look
fight.
against Horns, game two, they were playing Crow's Jungle, fine, whatever. Still, Noxus and Sax they were putting up nubbies. They were putting up damage nubbies and kill nubbies. So I think it could be a lot closer than it seems on paper, but I think at the end of the day, my ego is gonna come out strong here. I'm gonna say we take it 2-0 still. I think that even with different circumstances happening right now, I think that we'll still show up, play our smite, and just game. We'll
You,
game.
you need your ego to say that's a 2-0 for the fledglings.
You know what? Yeah. Listen, I don't say that I 2-0 sets often. I'm like, could be close. But I think it'll be close, but I don't think it'll be close enough where I'm saying, yeah, we'll drop a game.
The plebbies are in the same situation as the plebeians for me, except they're already out of the playoffs, and that kind of says just my thinking on the plebeians even more.
I think if the plebbies were able to have a consistent roster throughout the whole year, I think that it would be very different.
Yeah,
I think it'd be more of a fight for that sixth and fifth place spot.
Yeah, you're not lying at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Just thinking about this fledglings versus plebbies match just makes me look at the plebeians versus poets and say it might even be 2-0 poets, because the plebeians I'm kind of going back to this set, and we've already talked about it. I know. I'm sorry.
You love it.
But,
You love the set.
but plebeians, they have a lot to prove to me. They really do, and this could be the week they do it. But plebeians, I'm sorry, I just don't have a whole lot of faith in you at the moment. I need to see some consistency. I need to see you guys beat the living hell out of these poets. Pardon my French, because if you guys don't do that, then I'm really, really worried about you going into Journeyman versus Raptors. More than I would be if the Priests lost to the Frost Foxes and had to face them. More than I would be if the Starhoppers lost to the Ferrymen and had to face them. I would be extremely worried about you guys facing the Journeymen and Raptors. You guys just have to prove it to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say this week. You guys just have to prove it to me. And like I said about the Starhoppers, this could be the week that happens. This is the Poets where the Starhoppers get right week, with an asterisk. This could be the Plebeians get right week. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm going 2-0 fledglings over plebbies as well. And
thanks for the vote of confidence.
not that you gave me any, but hey, we made it to the end of the show.
Did it?
This was a weird one because we didn't have any 1v1s. This did kind of just go back to what we had a few weeks ago when I was hosting the very first episode of this by myself. It honestly felt kind of nice just to jump right into it. We did cover an hour and 45 minutes with just us talking about a week that, let's be honest, doesn't have a whole lot besides 1 or 2 matches. So I consider that a big win.
You did it.
But yeah, thank you as always for joining me, Charlie.
My pleasure.
And to all of you watching, thank you a whole lot. This is a lot of fun for us to do. It's a lot of work, but it's all worth it in the end because I really enjoy doing this. I know Charlie does. I know Owen does. And I know the rest of the cast does whenever they are able to come on. So thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Raptor. That is the Charred Goat right below me. And we will see you all next week.
Dock it. I love it.
Oh, that's the wrong screen. Whoops.
Oh.